Hello again. It's time for Maundy Thursday with your Holy Week box. It's been Palm Sunday. We had Holy Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and now we're on to Maundy Thursday. And Maundy Thursday, that word Maundy, it's kind of a weird word. It sounds like Monday, doesn't it? But that's not what it means. Maundy comes from another language called Latin, and it actually means mandate. And do you guys know what a mandate is? So a mandate is kind of like a commandment. Now you've heard that word before, right? With what? The 10 Commandments, right? The 10 Commandments. So Jesus, on Maundy Thursday, we usually read a story that talks about a new commandment to love one another. We're given the mandate to love one another, the commandment to love one another. And I know you guys are good at doing that. But we read that story as a reminder. But there are also a lot of other things that happen on Maundy Thursday that we celebrate. We celebrate Jesus having a dinner with his friends. We call it the Last Supper. It's the last meal that he has with his friends before he goes to the cross and dies. So this is a really, really special meal. And Jesus wanted to make sure that the disciples, right? The disciples all knew that Jesus loved them and cared for them. And so Jesus breaks bread and he has wine. And he shares it with them saying, "This is my body, this is my blood. Remember, I am with you always whenever you have these things." And do you know why they used bread and wine? Because it was always on the table. It was always a part of the meal. Jesus said, every time you eat, basically, remember this. But we celebrate this in the church every Sunday as a special meal, as a very special meal, reminding us that Jesus is always with us. So we're going to read a story. We're going to read the story from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 14, verses 12 to 25. Okay, so listen closely. Listen closely. It was the first day of the festival of thin bread, and the Passover lambs were being killed. Jesus' disciples asked him, "Where do you want us to go prepare the Passover meal?" So the disciples, right, they're asking Jesus. The Passover meal is a Jewish festival, so they're going to go prepare a big meal for everyone to have together. Jesus said to the two disciples, "Go into the city where you will meet a man carrying a jar of water. Follow him, and when he goes into a house, say to the owner, 'Our teacher wants to know if you have a room where he can eat the Passover meal with his disciples.' The owner will take you upstairs and show you a large room furnished and ready for you to use. Prepare the meal there." The two disciples went into the city and found everything just as Jesus had told them. So they prepared the Passover meal. While Jesus and the 12 disciples were eating together that evening, he said, "The one who will betray me is now eating with me." So one of his friends closest to him was actually going to betray him. And what does it mean to betray? It means to turn against, right? So the one who will betray me is now eating with me. That's so sad. This made the disciples sad, and one after another they said to Jesus, "You surely don't mean me." He answered, "It is one of you 12 men who is eating from this dish with me. The Son of Man will die, just as the scriptures say. But it is going to be terrible for the one who betrays me. That man would be better off if he had never been born." During the meal, Jesus took some bread in his hands. He blessed the bread and broke it. Then he gave it to his disciples and said, "Take this, it is my body." And Jesus picked up a cup of wine and gave thanks to God. He gave it to his disciples, and they all drank some. Then he said, "This is my blood, which is poured out for many people, and with it God makes his agreement. From now on, I will not drink any wine until I drink new wine in God's kingdom." Oh, there's a lot going on in that story. There's a lot of meaning behind what Jesus is trying to say. But one of the most important things is that Jesus is having this special meal with his disciples, this special meal to tell them, I am always with you. I will always be with you. So this week, this is the item you're going to be adding to your box. Draw a plate with a piece of bread and a cup, or if you have some clay or Play-Doh, you can create it out of clay and Play-Doh and use the top of your box as a table, and Jesus can sit at the table. It's a perfect little setup. But this is just a reminder. My Jesus dog keeps falling off. This is a reminder of the special meal that Jesus had, the Last Supper that he had with his disciples. And there's one more thing you can do on Maundy Thursday. There is a special meal that you can have with your family to remember this story. There is another video on our YouTube channel to show you how to do it. And there are directions on the church website that your parents can help you find to show you how you can have a special meal remembering the stories of Jesus' Last Supper, remembering the stories of God's promises to us. It's really simple and easy, and I invite you to do it. It can be a special meal for you and your family, and you get to wash your parents' feet during the service. So if that sounds like something interesting and fun to you, please have that service together and enjoy that time together, remembering this Last Supper, remembering Jesus as we prepare for Good Friday and the Easter Vigil, which is on Saturday, and our celebration on Easter Sunday of Jesus' resurrection. All right, so this is all in preparation for what's about to come next. Okay, I'll see you guys later.